The June 2026 Visa Bulletin is especially important for Indian green card applicants. This month brings a clear warning sign in the employment-based categories. EB-1. India and EB-2 India both retrogressed in June 2026. EB-3 India moved forward only slightly. For many Indian professionals, including H-1B workers waiting for green card availability, this update may affect expectations around Form 1485 filing, adjustment of status timing, travel planning, job changes, and long-term immigration strategy. In this video, we will explain what changed for India in the June 2026 Visa Bulletin, including EB-1, EB-2, EB-3, EB-5, family preference categories, USCIS filing chart guidance, and what Indian applicants should watch next. First, let's start with the main takeaway. The biggest India-specific update in the June 2026 Visa Bulletin is employment-based retrogression. EB-1 India moved backward. EB-2 India also moved backward. EB-3 India moved forward slightly, but the movement was limited. Other workers India also moved forward slightly. EB-5 unreserved India remains subject to a final action date. EB-5 set-aside categories remain current. Family-based India categories were generally steadier than the employment-based categories. For Indian applicants, June 2026 should be treated as a planning month. That means applicants should review their priority date, visa category, country of chargeability, and the correct USCIS filing chart before making decisions about Form 1485, travel, job changes, EAD, advance parole, or long-term green card strategy. Now let's talk about the USCIS filing chart. For June 2026, Indian applicants need to look carefully at which chart USCIS allows for adjustment of status filings. This is important because the Department of State Visa Bulletin may show more than one chart, but USCIS decides which chart can be used for Form 1485 filings inside the United States. For June 2026, USCIS is allowing family-sponsored applicants to use the dates for filing chart. This may help some Indian family-based applicants file earlier if their priority date is before the listed date. For F2A, which covers spouses and children of lawful permanent residents, the June 2026 USCIS chart shows the category as current. For employment-based applicants, USCIS is using the final action dates chart. This is especially important for Indian applicants because EB-1 India and EB-2 India retrogressed in June 2026. Employment-based applicants cannot rely only on the more favourable dates for filing chart if USCIS is not allowing that chart for filing. In simple terms, Indian applicants should not only ask, "What does the Visa Bulletin say?" They should ask, "Which chart does USCIS allow me to use this month?" Before filing Form 1485, Indian applicants should confirm 4 things: their visa category, their country of chargeability, their priority date, and the USCIS approved chart for June 2026. Now let's look at EB-1 India. EB-1 India is one of the most important updates in the June 2026 Visa Bulletin. In June 2026, EB-1 India retrogressed. The listed EB-1 India date is December 15, 2022. EB-1 may include extraordinary ability applicants, outstanding professors and researchers, and certain multinational managers or executives. For Indian applicants in these categories, retrogression can affect when a green card may be approved and whether adjustment of status can move forward. This does not mean the underlying petition is denied. Retrogression usually means the applicant may need to wait until the priority date becomes current again before the case can move to final green card approval. Indian EB-1 applicants with priority dates close to the June 2026 date should be careful with timing decisions, especially around Form 1485, travel, job changes, and long-term immigration planning. Now let's talk about EB-2 India. EB-2 India also retrogressed in the June 2026 Visa Bulletin. The listed EB-2 India date is September 1, 2013. This is one of the most important updates for Indian employment-based applicants because EB-2 includes many advanced degree professionals, persons of exceptional ability, PERM-based applicants, and EB-2 NIW applicants. Because many Indian professionals are waiting in EB-2, even one Visa Bulletin change can affect expectations around green card timing, adjustment of status, and long-term planning. For Indian applicants, EB-2 retrogression does not mean the I-140 petition is denied or cancelled. It usually means that the applicant's priority date is no longer current for final action, so the case may need to wait until the Visa Bulletin moves forward again. This is especially important for Indian H-1B workers who are watching EB-2 movement closely, If a priority date is near the listed date, the applicant should be careful before making major decisions about Form 1485, job changes, travel, EAD, or advanced parole planning. The main takeaway is simple. EB-2 India became more restricted in June 2026. Applicants should not assume that EB-2 movement will continue forward every month, especially when demand remains high. Now let's look at EB-3 India and other workers. EB-3 India moved forward slightly in the June 2026 Visa Bulletin. The listed EB-3 India date is December 15, 2013. This is a positive update, but the movement is limited. EB-3 India remains heavily backlogged, so applicants should not treat 1 month of forward movement as a major change in the overall waiting time. The other workers category for India also moved forward slightly. Like EB-3, this may help applicants near the listed date, but it does not remove the larger backlog. Some Indian applicants may compare EB-2 and EB-3 movement when thinking about downgrade or interfiling strategy. That type of decision should be reviewed carefully because it depends on the full case history, the approved petition, the pending application, and the applicant's long-term immigration goals. The practical takeaway is this. EB-3 India improved slightly in June 2026, but applicants should still be cautious. Small movement can help some cases, but it does not guarantee faster green card approval. Now let's discuss EB-5 India. EB-5 India also needs careful attention in the June 2026 Visa Bulletin. For June 2026, EB-5 Unreserved India remains subject to a final action date. The listed EB-5 Unreserved India date is May 1, 2022. That means EB-5 Unreserved is not current for all Indian applicants. At the same time, EB-5 set-aside categories remain current. These include rural, high unemployment, and infrastructure set-aside categories. That distinction matters because EB-5 is not treated as one single category in the Visa Bulletin. An applicant in EB-5 Unreserved may face a different timing issue than an applicant in a set-aside category. For Indian EB-5 applicants, the practical point is to check the exact EB-5 category before making assumptions. Now let's look at family-based India updates. The family-based side of the June 2026 Visa Bulletin is less dramatic for India than the employment-based side. For Indian family-sponsored applicants, the key categories to watch are F1, F2A, F2B, F3 and F4. These categories cover different family relationships, including unmarried sons and daughters of US citizens, spouses and children of lawful permanent residents, married sons and daughters of US citizens, and siblings of adult US citizens. F2A is especially important because it covers spouses and children of lawful permanent residents. For June 2026, F2A is current on the USCIS filing chart, which may help eligible Indian applicants who are preparing to file adjustment of status. Other India family-based categories remain backlogged. This means that even if a category moves forward, many applicants may still have to wait before their priority date becomes usable. F4 India is also important because it remains one of the longest family-based backlogs. F4 covers brothers and sisters of adult US citizens. Indian applicants in this category should compare their priority date with the correct Visa Bulletin chart before assuming the case can move forward. Now, what changed from May 2026 for India? From May 2026 to June 2026, the biggest change for Indian applicants was in the employment-based categories. EB-1 India moved backward. EB-2 India also retrogressed. This is important because many Indian professionals rely on these categories for long-term green card planning, especially if they are working in the United States on H-1B status. EB-3 India moved forward slightly. Other workers India also moved forward slightly. For EB-5, India Unreserved stayed subject to a final action date, while EB-5 set-aside categories remained current. The family-based India categories were more stable than the employment-based categories. The practical takeaway is that June 2026 was not simply a good month or a bad month for India. It was a caution month. EB-1 and EB-2 became more restricted, while EB-3 showed only modest improvement. Now, what changed compared with June 2025 for India? Compared with June 2025, several India categories are in a better position in the June 2026 Visa Bulletin. EB-1 India, EB-2 India and EB-3 India are all ahead of where they were 1 year earlier. EB-5 Unreserved India is also better than it was in June 2025. That year-over-year progress is important, especially for applicants who have been watching priority dates for a long time. But the comparison should not be misunderstood. Even though some dates are better than they were in June 2025, EB-1 India and EB-2 India still retrogressed from May 2026 to June 2026. That means the long-term picture may show improvement, while the short-term movement can still be negative. Visa Bulletin movement is not a straight line. A category can improve compared with last year and still move backward this month. For Indian applicants, that is why monthly chart review matters. Now let's talk specifically about Indian H-1B workers. For many Indian H-1B workers, the June 2026 Visa Bulletin is not just a monthly update. It can affect long-term planning. If an Indian applicant is waiting in EB-1, EB-2 or EB-3, the priority date should be reviewed carefully against the correct USCIS filing chart. This is especially important in June 2026, because EB-1 India and EB-2 India moved backward, while EB-3 India moved forward only slightly. H-1B workers should also be careful before making major decisions such as changing jobs, travelling internationally, relying on EAD or advance parole, or planning an adjustment of status filing. A small change in the Visa Bulletin can affect timing, but it does not always answer the full strategy question. Retrogression does not mean the green card case is over. It usually means the applicant may need to wait longer before the case can move forward to final approval or before adjustment of status becomes available. Now, what should Indian applicants avoid assuming from the June 2026 Visa Bulletin? First, do not assume that dates will keep moving forward. June 2026 shows the opposite for EB-1 India and EB-2 India. Second, do not assume that EB-1 is always protected from backlog issues. EB-1 is often viewed as a faster category, but EB-1 India still moved backward in June 2026. Third, do not assume that a close priority date means approval is guaranteed. The Visa Bulletin helps show visa availability, but it does not decide whether USCIS will approve the underlying petition or adjustment application. Indian applicants should also avoid filing Form Y-485 based only on a general Visa Bulletin summary. For adjustment of status, the USCIS filing chart matters. If USCIS is not allowing a certain chart for employment-based filings, relying on the wrong chart can create serious timing problems. The safest approach is to treat the June 2026 Visa Bulletin as a planning tool, not a final answer. The final takeaway is this. The June 2026 Visa Bulletin is an important caution month for Indian green card applicants. EB-1 India and EB-2 India both retrogressed. EB-3 India moved forward only slightly. EB-5 Unreserved India remains a category to watch. Family-based India categories were generally steadier, but many remain backlogged. For Indian applicants, the most important step is to compare the priority date with the correct visa category and the USCIS filing chart for June 2026. This is especially important before filing Form 1485 or making major decisions about travel, job changes, EAD, advance parole, or long-term green card strategy. A retrogression does not mean the case is over, but it does mean timing should be reviewed carefully. For more immigration updates, visit usavisalaw.com or read the full article on the American Visa Law Group blog. If this video was helpful, like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Which category are you watching most closely? EB-1 India, EB-2 India, EB-3 India, EB-5 India, or F4 India?